Hey everybody, Tall Family Films here. Today we're going to be looking at the rear Swaybar end links. This is on an Acura 2012 Acura MDX, but the same process would apply for any car that has rear Swaybar end links, and they don't all have them, FYI. I guess it's kind of a luxury car thing when they add them in the rear. However, you can take the rear tire off to get better access to. You can see the Swaybar end links a little easier this way. On the back side of the rotor, on the left, it's held on by two bolts, just like it is on the front. And this is a very similar to the front. And this car, these end links are much smaller. But here's the end link right here. It is held on by one nut at the top, and there is one nut that's kind of a little more hidden. It's harder to get to on this camera angle, but you'll see it here. There is another nut that holds on the bottom, and it takes a direct right turn at the bottom, so it is right on the bottom side of that link. Without a doubt, you'll know it when you see it. Now, same rules of lefty-loosey, righty-tighty apply, but since we're looking at this backwards, when I am pushing to the right, that will actually be loosening this bolt. So remember, it's kind of a mirror image. And what's happening in this case is the nut and the stud are both turning at the same time. So I'm trying to increase the speed at which the wrench is going. I'm trying to get the nut to turn faster than the stud will turn. Maybe there's still some resistance left in that boot, but there's not in this case. So I'll show you another video, I'll link to it, that shows you exactly how you might be able to fix it in a couple of different scenarios. But this is the most common. So this is the bottom stud that we're looking at, just because it was easier for me to show you on the camera. But there is an Allen wrench hole that is usually inside the stud. And so if you can take an Allen wrench, insert it into that hole, and then get a wrench to turn the nut on the outside, you can hold the stud still. You can't use a socket, obviously, when you do this, because the Allen wrench has to be there, and there's physically not a way to get the socket on there. All right, so sorry this is out of focus a little bit. I had a bad cameraman for a moment. But see, now the Allen wrench is holding the stud, so I'm able to back the nut out. This is the preferred method for doing this, if this works. This is, you know, by far the easiest probably of the way to go about this. The bottom stud on this particular car was situated, it was kind of down inside the control arm of the car. So what I ended up having to do was cut it off. I just cut the stud, I had a cut-off tool, and I was able to fit it down in there. If you had a Dremel, if it's a really tight spot, a Dremel is also a really nice tool to go about doing that. But if you can't get both the Allen wrench and a regular fixed wrench, or in this case I have this ratcheting wrench, but if you can't get them both in there, then cutting it off or breaking it off is another option, and that's also in the video that I linked to a minute ago. So we finish up on the top side here, and because of where the bottom side was, I wasn't able to get a camera with showing any usable footage on removing it. But we ended up having to cut the bottom one off, and I will show you that here in just a second. So I want to just offer these tips. There are 4 ways that I know of if the nut is stuck and you're turning it and the whole post is turning. So the first one is the easiest, and that's what we did in the very beginning here. We just put an impact wrench on it, and you just turn as fast as it will go, or a regular wrench if you can't get an impact on it. And you just want to turn it as fast as you can, trying to turn the nut faster than the post will go, because there's some resistance in the boot. The second, put an Allen wrench in this hole. By putting an Allen wrench in there, it'll hold the post still, just like you saw us do in this video, and then you can use a fixed wrench like this one to start undoing it. And if you have a ratcheting wrench, then it'll go even faster, but remember, can't use a socket here. So the third way is to, if you have room to get in there with a cutting tool, you can actually just cut the post right off. That's what we did on this one. This is the exact Swaybar end link from the rear of this car. A Dremel also works well. And then the fourth way, if the car has room for it, it'll allow you to just snap the Swaybar end link, it'll snap it right down at the post. And if you can do that, you'll end up with a little ball in there that you will be able to get some vice grips on. It looks like this. So here's one that I actually went and just broke right off. And if you do that, you will have something that looks like this. So now you know what it looks like inside that boot. Grease and a ball, and that's about it. So we just put a vice grip on it, squeeze it, and then you can put a wrench on there or an impact and hopefully back it back off. As always, if this video helped you, you can really help me by subscribing to my channel and giving this video a thumbs up. It really does help me out a lot, and I thank you guys for watching.